are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked on Cowboys. Locked on Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. And joining me today, as always, is Landon McCool. You can follow him on Twitter at McCoolBCB. You can also listen to him on the Best Ghost Boys podcast. Landon, what's going on, sir?
Not much. It's Friday for the last game going into the bye week. We're freshly shorn.
Yes, we both got our haircut the last couple of days.
Both got our haircuts. That was not planned.
No.
That just happened that way. But we've decided that we are going to start planning these from now on.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm excited. This is the stories behind this game. It's all about how the Cowboys have not beaten the Patriots in 25 years. I think is like the number.
Yeah. 96 is the last time they beat them. Yep.
It's just so funny. Like, it's 6 games. It's not like, it's like when you say 25 years, it feels like this voluminous, number of games that the Cowboys have lost. It's 6 games. So it's interesting storylines, but I'm also ready to talk about the actual football involved in this game.
It's also important to remember the Cowboys have had 3 different quarterbacks in their last 3 games against the Patriots. So that doesn't really help, right? A lot of turnover here. So let's we're going to talk about this Cowboys-Patriots game, which I'm really excited about. But before we do that, we should talk about some injury news that the Cowboys had. So Tyron Smith scared everybody to death yesterday because he was listed as limited in practice, which is actually a downgrade from Wednesday practice. He had an MRI on Thursday. And I don't know if you were doing this, but I was checking my phone like every 2 minutes just to see if any news popped up. It sounds like he's okay. He's going to be able to play on Sunday. At least that's what Dr. Jerry Jones says. But are you concerned about Tyron at all?
I played this exactly the opposite. I saw it once on my Twitter feed, and I was like, you know what? I've got stuff to do. I'm not going to go do that. And
my poor wife, she was just like, she was so concerned because I could not even look up during dinner. I was just looking at my phone for the latest Michael Galkin tweet. That's all. Yeah.
I mean, certainly I had that strong urge to, and I had to just put the phone down to let it happen. And I'm glad I did, because it seems like it may have helped somehow. Look, I think that the reason it's startling is because it's the neck, and he's had issues there before. It sounds like it is mostly precautionary that they're doing it. So they seem pretty confident he's going to play. Again, it's the game before the bye week, so he just needs to get through this, and then he's got a bye week to kind of rest it, and then we'll go from there.
So just to let everybody know, this is kind of what I heard. What the plan was with Tyron was they were actually going to give him an MRI during the bye week anyways, no matter what happened, because they just wanted to kind of check in to see how his neck was holding up after he got it repaired this offseason. It sounds like it tightened up on him a little bit in practice. And because they already were going to do an MRI, they decided just, hey, let's do it now just to make sure everything was okay. They didn't have a practice on Friday. They have a walkthrough on Saturday. I would be shocked if he doesn't play. It's kind of where we're at. So
and let's MRI is again a word that triggers fear here. The Cowboys own an MRI machine, so
it's not like they have to send him to the hospital to go get it done, right?
So there's no reason not to get it done other than if you don't have 35 minutes to sit into a tube that's making airplane noises. So they basically if there's any kind of reason at all, they're going to stick you in that tube and find out what's going on just so they can head it off at the pass. It's exactly what we talked about with Dak too, the precautionary MRI. I did see that our buddy Daniel, Cowboys Stats and Graphs, replied back to the Cowboys tweet about it, saying it's not a setback.
It's an MRI.
It's just an MRI, which I thought was hilarious. So,
how do you think they got Tyron in that MRI machine? Like, how do they physically fit him in there?
They must have gotten one of those huge, concrete tubes that they use for sewering.
A sleuth pipe.
They had to extend it out. Maybe they make the whole room out of the MRI machine.
There you go. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Other injury news: Trevon Diggs kind of limited in practice all this week with an ankle injury. I just love how this plays out. Mike McCarthy says he's a game time decision. We'll see how he progresses, and then Jerry Jones goes on the radio and says he's playing. So thanks, Jerry Jones. That's great. Are you worried about him at all?
No, and I don't worry about that stuff either, because it's like, I mean, everyone knows he's playing. Like, it's just like, what kind of a competitive advantage is that? I mean, I really, it's McCarthy being kind of old school and Jerry just kind of being past that.
Yeah. Not too worried about it. But all right, let's start our preview. Before we do that, I want to tell you guys about BetOnline. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. So if you are using BetOnline, you'll notice that the line this week has shifted quite a bit. I saw it start at Cowboys were favored by 4.5. Right before we went on the show, I checked it. It's 2.5, 3 on most sites. So a lot of people think the Patriots are going to keep this one close. Let's start with the Patriots offense. Mac Jones playing pretty well from a rookie. How do you think the Cowboys match up?
I mean, I think the Cowboys match up well. I mean, we don't, and I actually haven't had a chance to check the injury report this morning, or if they even are releasing one technically. But the Patriots are still dealing with a variety of injuries. They still got some guys, I think, that are on the COVID list still as well. That's the one thing I haven't checked. But I will say this, without a doubt, that it's safe to say that of the rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones has been the most consistent, and I think it has a lot to do with the way that they're handling him. The way that they're trying to buoy him with a strong running game. They're trying to help him out with easy looks. He's not. It's interesting because the current trend with rookie quarterbacks is to try to do a lot of what they did in college to make their transition easier. So you see a lot of these rookie quarterbacks coming out and they're playing a lot of shotgun because that's what they played in college, and dealing with a lot of zone read and RPO stuff because, again, that's what they're comfortable with. That's not necessarily what Mac Jones has been doing. Mac Jones has been playing a lot from under center. They're doing a lot of handoff, a lot of play action stuff. So I think that, for the most part, he is doing a really good job of just being on schedule and making the throws that are there when they're open. He's been accurate, and it's been mostly because he's throwing the ball where it's supposed to be, and just kind of trusting in that. I don't think that Mac Jones has any kind of playmaking ability at this point in his career. He's
basically going to operate the offense the exact way it's designed, right?
Exactly, and I think that that's really where the Cowboys just need to be very, very, very solid and just be kind of follow their cues and play just good football, and they don't need to play outside of themselves. They just need to lock down the defense, lock down the run game, make sure that they're on top of their cues, and force them to actually make a play, force them to actually do something outside of their comfort zone. Because again, I think when we talk about the Cowboys offense, I think the Patriots they're going to feel the most comfortable trying to win with their defense at this point. I think that they're hoping that their defense can carry them. But I think that even with a strong game plan by Belichick, and even if he has some success against the Cowboys, there's going to be pressure on this Patriots offense to try to keep up. And I think that, if they just remain the way that they have been, if they kind of just don't get out of their comfort zone, I don't know that they're going to be able to score the points to keep up with the Cowboys.
I think that's fair. There is one thing that really worries me about this Patriots team is the rushing attack, because we really haven't seen a team against the Cowboys just say, hey, you know what? We're going to run the ball 30 times in this game. And even if we get down by 10 points, we're going to continue to run the ball, because teams have had success when they do run. Like we saw Miles Sanders against the Cowboys, have a big run. We saw Panthers even have some success running the ball. If the Patriots just decided to play some smash mouth football, 2 tight ends, a fullback, and run the ball right at Dallas. That's the game plan that makes me nervous because you could potentially keep the Cowboys off the field. And I don't know if the Cowboys are built to play that kind of football right now.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know that the Patriots are built to play that kind of football right now.
Fair point. Damian Harris, I saw their top running back. He's going to be listed as questionable, I think, at best in this game. Mike Reese from ESPN said he would be shocked if he played. So no Damian Harris. Ramondre Stevenson would probably be the next guy up, but he's had a history of fumbles. Brandon Bolden. So I don't know, but I think that's probably what the plan is going to be for New England.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that they are feeling most comfortable about trying to make this. I mean, look, it's going to be a very similar game plan to what we saw with the Bucks, right? Where
Yes.
I think they're going to try to like make it ugly, make it sloppy, make Dallas play down to New England's level, right?
Yes.
The difference is that the weather conditions for Sunday don't look nearly as bad as they did that night that Tampa was in town. So.
Yep.
I think for the Cowboys, you're right. They are going to get challenged in the run game. And this may be the first team that actually truly tries to test them in a way, test them in that way where they're really consistently trying to run the football. The problem for the Patriots is that I don't know that they have the horses to actually execute that offense well enough.
My fear would be like, let's say they start the game off the ball and it's a 10-play drive that takes 7 minutes, and let's say they even kick a field goal. My worry is that the offense would start to press a little bit for the Cowboys. Like, hey, we're only going to get so many possessions in this game. We've got to score a touchdown on this drive. I don't necessarily think that's the way this game needs to go, but I just wonder if that's the mentality a little bit. If New England tries to stick with the run,
I think that. Yeah, I mean, I think that they will try, and I think that is the game plan that they're going to try. They're going to. If you ask me. On the defensive side of the ball, they're going to try and take away our running game. And then I think they want to run the football on their side just because they don't necessarily want to put Mac Jones in a situation where he's being put into the shotgun and forced to try to score a bunch of points to play catch up.
That's fascinating. You think they're going to take away the run game? Because I actually think it's the opposite. But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. Because, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, my thought process is that they're going to try to take away the easy points here. And I think right now the Cowboys offensive line is running the ball in such a way that running the football is efficient. So we should move.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, we can dive right into it. So typically Belichick does not want to get beat by a big play. And I think especially with this offense, they don't want to give up quick points, right? Mm-hmm. And in previous years, they've been able to play 8 and 9 man boxes because they really trust their cornerbacks. They don't have the depth there right now with Stephon Gilmore gone. They're playing Jowan Johnson on the outside, who you might remember from the draft a couple years ago. Yeah. And he's not played well. So my guess is that they're going to have some pretty light boxes and basically say, hey, Cowboys, if you want to take 12 plays to try to get down to the red zone, we'll stop you there. But we'd love to shorten this game. I think that's going to be the ultimate goal. I just don't think they want to give up the 50-yard bomb over the top to CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they're going to play that way at all.
I can't imagine that Belichick wants to be run all over either. I mean, that's the thing.
No, but it's just that shortens the game, though, right? And I think he knows that he just doesn't have the same talented team as the Cowboys. So if they can get this to be a 17-14 game in the fourth quarter, very much like the Tampa Bay game, right, where Tampa Bay ran all over them. It's just they couldn't make big plays down the field. I just wonder if it's going to be a similar game plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think that they're in a bad spot either way. Like, because I mean, the truth is that it still puts pressure on Mac Jones to score points. Like, they can't necessarily. Let's say that it becomes like we want to run the football and they want to run the football. I definitely still trust the margin of error of our run game versus their defenses versus their run game versus our defense. Like, I think that Belichick has probably watched these last 4 games and saw teams trying to do exactly what you're talking about and not been able to successfully stop the Cowboys. I mean, I think the problem, the way that sort of defense works is when you're not facing a run game that can produce explosives in the run game. And then on top of that, have a quarterback who can occasionally pop out and do the kind of things that Dak does. So, I don't disagree with your thought process and the game planning, because I kind of feel like Belichick's in a spot where he has a choice, either way to make, and neither of them are great choices for him. He's kind of seen the Cowboys pick apart both of those kind of defensive game plans, and so yeah, it really will be an interesting choice for him on Monday, like what he decides to try to take away.
Yeah, the guy that I want to highlight, just Dante Hightower. He's so good, and there's going to be a couple times where he shoots the right gap and he makes a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. He's so good as a blitzer. It would not be shocking if he gets a sack in this game. If the Cowboys can kind of limit the impact that he has in this one, they'll be fine. One more thing on the offense for the Patriots offense. They've had problems moving the ball. So they kind of resort to trick plays. Like we saw against Tampa Bay, Jacoby Myers threw 2 passes. They're going to do things to try to jumpstart their offense, whether it's a flea flicker, whether it's a double pass or reverse. It's just kind of what Belichick does in these games where he's underdogs. They try to find ways to steal 30 or 40 yards or steal points. Just watch out for that, because I guarantee you something is coming in this game when they need some momentum and they need a shot.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that, if anything, shows you the problem with Belichick and this offense. Is that Belichick would never do that with Tom Brady, or I mean, he may have occasionally, but like
in super big games, they'll use that kind of stuff. Not regular season games.
I mean, the point is that he's doing that because he knows his offense can't produce the big plays that he needs to win the game. Like he's trying to manufacture big plays through trick plays, right? And kind of it really shows you in a nutshell the issue with this offense, the Patriots offense, is that they can kind of operate in structure and they can kind of take what's given there. And Mac Jones has been very accurate and has run the offense the way it is supposed to. But when things break down, or when they need a big play, or they need Mac Jones to make a throw that, on a third down when they've called the wrong play call against the wrong defense, and you just need your guy to make it work, that's where they're not getting it from Mac Jones. So, I definitely agree. Look out for those big plays, because they know that they have to manufacture something to kind of try to keep up with the scoring that's going to happen.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do on offense. Hunter Henry is really Mac Jones's favorite receiver. Tight end. He's basically a receiver, but I'll be curious how the Cowboys match up with him. Do they use J-Ron Curse? Do they slide Trevon Diggs over there? Maybe. We'll see. All right, we're going to make our prediction for this game. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys about Built Bar. It's the best tasting protein bar out there. It's hard to even explain it. Real chocolate, amazing flavors. It's just a great combination of low calories, high protein, and low sugar with no crazy additives. Best of all, they taste fantastic. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your next box at BuiltBar.com. All right, Landon, prediction time. Who do you have winning this game?
I'm picking the Cowboys. I think they're going to win. I think I gave a score of 28-21. That sounded kind of close to me. I know the line is like a lot closer than that, but I do, and I think the game will be closer than the score shows. But I do think that again, the Cowboys are the better team. Just roster wise, they have the better group. There is a coaching, there's a question on which coaching staff is better. Though listen, Kellen Moore is calling offenses as well as anybody in the NFL right now. So, sure. I think that at the end of the day, the Cowboys will, like they have in several of these games, once the third and fourth quarter rolls around, the talent, entropy will start to spread out, and the Cowboys will start to pull away a little bit more. I anticipate there being a pretty balanced game at the end of it. I think that because I think Belichick is, despite what we've talked about having a choice between one of these two things that he can do to try to stop this offense, I think he's probably going to go back and forth depending on where they are in the game. So, and he's notorious for kind of making adjustments in the second and third quarter. So, those are all things that to look out for. But I think at the end of the day, the Cowboys' talent will win out, and they'll start to pull away kind of at the end.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game. I listen, I can't see the Patriots blowing out the Cowboys. They just don't have the offense to do that. But I don't really see Dallas blowing out New England either, despite having, more talent on both sides of the ball. I think it's just New England is so well coached. They really don't lose at home very often. And they've got Bill Belichick, who's so good at the end of game situations and clock management and all that kind of stuff. So, listen, I think there's definitely something to a team needing a win more. And I think New England needs this game more to kind of just stay alive in the playoff hunt in the AFC. The Cowboys have a bye. Maybe they're looking forward to that a little bit. I'm taking the Patriots, Landon. Are you shocked?
No, because I know what you're really doing here, Marcus. And I'm all for it. So yes, that's fine.
I do think this is going to be a close game. I think anybody expecting a blowout is going to be a surprise. I will say that.
Right? Yeah, I think if the Cowboys are handling this game, then they'll probably have a lead and never give it up.
Exactly.
If that's it, but I don't think it will ever be like, I don't think the game will ever
game or something like that.
Yeah, I think 10 points is probably the furthest these two teams ever getting away from each other at any point in the game.
I agree. All right, that is it for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Continue to check us out on YouTube. You can follow Landon at McCool BCB. You can follow the show at Locked On Cowboys. You can follow me at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy week 6. We'll be back here on Sunday night to break it all down. Go Cowboys.